إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له هو الأول والآخر والظاهر والباطن وهو بكل شيء عليم وأشهد أن حبيبنا ومولانا وسيدنا محمدا عبد الله ورسوله أرسله تعالى بالهدى ودين الحق ليظهره على الدين كله ولو كره المشركون. اللهم صل وسلم وبارك على هذا النبي الكريم وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين ومن تبعهم بإحسان إلى يوم الدين. يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون. أما بعد. My dear brothers and sisters, we start by praising Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We thank Him for this blessing of Jum'ah and for all of the blessings that we enjoy in our life. And we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the Most High, to send His peace and blessings upon our beloved Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, upon his family, his companions, and upon the believers until the day of judgment. Ameen ya Rabbal Alameen. Dear brothers and sisters, there is an important day taking place, or event taking place this Sunday, and it's an annual event, and it's the biggest, actually, worldwide kind of movement that exists overall, completely, and that is what is called Earth Day. And Earth Day is a once a year kind of remembrance about what our responsibilities are as human beings towards the planet Earth. And of course, as Muslims, we have a very solid understanding that is given to us directly from the Creator as to how we view creation and how we view particularly our Mother Earth. So this is a day, and I'll spend these few moments today, inshallah, as a time to reflect upon the fragility and the fine balance of the universe, and to remind us about our responsibilities and how we are stewards, how we are caretakers of Allah's creation. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He created this universe with so much richness and vastness in terms of the diversity of creation and species and heavenly bodies and all of the different communities that exist upon this earth. And if you look at the Quran and you read the Quran, you will find it replete, so much mention of the importance of us as creations of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to remember these various signs that exist in His existence. And so if we take a few ayahs where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, بعد أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم أفلا ينظرون إلى الإبل كيف خلقت وإلى السماء كيف رفعت وإلى الجبال كيف نصبت وإلى الأرض كيف سطحت. It's a question from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala asking, have they not reflected and pondered and taken their time to observe the camel and how it was created, this incredible creature that has been given the perfect amount of balance and survival skill to survive in its particular context, just like all other creatures have been given what they need to survive where they have been placed in this earth. وَإِلَى السَّمَاءِ كَيْفَ رُفِعَتْ, and have they not pondered and looked at the heavens, at the skies, and to see how beautiful that creation is? And now that we know everything that we know with modern science, and in terms of the earth and the atmosphere, and then what's beyond the atmosphere, and understanding these layers of creation, our appreciation of Allah's creation grows that much more. وَإِلَى الْأَرْضِ كَيْفَ سُطِحَتْ وَإِلَى الْجِبَالِ كَيْفَ نُصِبَتْ, and have they not pondered and looked upon the mountains and how they have been planted firm, and they have their particular role and function in the larger world, and how the winds and the climate and and the precipitation, it all plays in different ways based upon where the mountains are placed. And how have they not looked at the earth and how it's spread out and how vast and how it's laid out and how all that is within it is made accessible for us. Right? And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala ultimately created all of this that is on earth for us as human beings. As human beings. هُوَ الَّذِي خَلَقَ لَكُم مَّا فِي الْأَرْضِ جَمِيعًا. Right? Allah is the one that has created everything upon this earth for you. So when we read the Quranic description, we cannot be except struck by wonder and awe and amazement by all of Allah's creation. And we realize that one important aspect of witnessing Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's creation is understanding our role in terms of caring for the creation of Allah. But, my dear brothers and sisters, after having said all of that, we as humanity are failing. We're not upholding our responsibility. We're not upholding our responsibility as being responsible caretakers of this earth. And the signs of that are all around us. The earth is warming up, and we see this phenomenon taking place in front of our eyes called global warming. That's the overwhelming and undeniable conclusion of most of the scientific world. Right? That what we see taking place is something that has taken place as a result of our own hands doing, right? And we'll talk about that concept, inshallah. But this is just about to the level of fact, right? Unfortunately, you have some people in this earth who deny that. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, وَإِذَا قِيلَ لَهُمْ لَا تُفْسِدُوا فِي الْأَرْضِ قَالُوا إِنَّمَا نَحْنُ مُصْلِحُونَ. Some people, when you tell them, don't continue to spread corruption in the land and in the earth, and continue to destroy and continue to produce coal and continue to do all of these things that we know scientifically now are contributing to the detriment of this earth, but they say, no, we're making the world a better place, right? So unfortunately, you still have that attitude, and that's why we see some of what we see. But so humanity is at this critical turning point. And unless these levels are decreased, and unless we pay attention to the environment and we make the necessary modifications, and we're talking, of course, on a global scale, on the scale of nations, right? We, inshallah, can do what we can do as individuals, but we're not naive to say that this is something that the world powers have to take severe measures to rectify. And part of that has to do with our affluence and our extravagant lifestyle, right? That has led us to this point. Our consumption, our overconsumption of the world's resources has done great damage to this planet. And the unfortunate reality is that our actions and our injustices towards the earth are not only having negative ramifications for us in our lives, but also the ramifications for the future generations is very, very bleak. Imam Jafar as-Sadiq, rahimahullah ta'ala, he said something very, very profound. He said, there is no joy in life unless three things are available: clean, fresh air, pure, abundant water, and fertile land. Right? Clean, fresh air, clean, abundant water, and fertile land. And these basic life necessities, right, are now things that we can no longer take for granted. And so I want to talk about some specifics of this environmental crisis, right? Some simple facts. Some simple facts. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, فَلْيَنْظُرُ الْإِنسَانُ إِلَىٰ طَعَامِهِ. Right? Let the human being look at his food. Let him look at his food as to where it comes from. فَلْيَنْظُرُ الْإِنسَانُ إِلَىٰ طَعَامِهِ أَنَّا صَبَبْنَا الْمَاءَ صَبًّا ثُمَّ شَقَقْنَا الْأَرْضَ شَقًّا فَأَنبَتْنَا فِيهَا عِنَبًا وَحَبًّا. That Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He has told us, let human beings pay attention to their food. how the water has come down and brought it out from the land, right? But another aspect of looking at our food is our consumption of it. And the statistics say that Americans throw away 40% of their food supply every year. 40%. Like, so you take a plate of food that you have, almost half of it people throw into the garbage. That's what it means, right? 40% of food that is produced in America is thrown in the garbage. And that amounts to a family of four individuals wasting or throwing away the equivalent of over $2,200 of food every year. Right? What a shame in terms of how we deal with the food that we've been given as this great blessing that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told us to pay attention to. When we look at water, right, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَجَعَلْنَا مِنَ الْمَاءِ كُلَّ شَيْءٍ حَيٍّ. Water is that essential quality that Allah says, we have made every living thing from water. Right? أَفَرَأَيْتُمُ الْمَاءَ الَّذِي تَشْرَبُونَ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, do they not look and ponder upon the water that they drink? 70% of the earth is covered in water, but yet only 1% is available for human use. Granted that much of the world is seawater, but the amount of fresh water that exists, that is available, that is clean, that is pure and unadulterated, not polluted, is so much less than what it used to be. And the average American uses more than 100 gallons of water a day. 100 gallons. You know, you've seen, brothers and sisters, a picture of women in various African nations and various Asian countries where they carry this, stick, and they carry these 2 buckets of water on either side of them, and they have to travel. That's a good portion of the world that doesn't have access to, just tap water immediately. They just turn it on and it comes. They have to go and retrieve it. And what does that mean? That means they have maybe 10 gallons supply for the whole day, for the whole family, right? But the average American uses 100 gallons of water a day. And they say that just 1 pound of beef takes 7,000 gallons of water to produce. From the time you raise the cow on the farm to the point that beef gets on the table and all of the processes that go along with that. 7,000 pounds of water just for us to eat that 1 pound of beef. So how precious water is, and unfortunately how much it's being abused today. Then you look at energy. The statistics say that even though Americans only make up 5% of the world's population, but yet they consume 1/4 of the world's energy. 1/4 of the world's energy being used by 5%. And we, brothers and sisters, we are part of this society, right, that has that level of consumption. And the statistics show that annually 7 million people are dying from air pollution. 7 million people are dying annually from air pollution, right? Because this energy source has been polluted in so many parts of the world. As it relates to waste and what human beings do and how they, throw away these resources that Allah has given us, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَلَا تُسْرِفُوا إِنَّ اللَّهَ لَا يُحِبُّ الْمُسْرِفِينَ. Many ayats talk about this. And do not be excessive, right? Do not be wasteful. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not like that. Some products have been created in this generation, or perhaps just in the recent past. For example, styrofoam. They say that styrofoam, if you had a styrofoam cup that somebody from the time of the Prophet ﷺ drank from, it would still be here today on this earth, right? It's not biodegradable. It doesn't decompose, right? And all of these other plastics and so many other things that we have now that are entering the environment, and the problem is once they enter the environment, they never disappear. Right? So this is the state of the world in a very quick glimpse. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He tells us how this has come about. And He says in Surah Al-Rum, ظهر الفساد في البر والبحر بما كسبت أيدي الناس. Right? That corruption has spread in the land and in the sea by virtue of what human beings have put forth with their own hand. As a result of what human beings have done themselves. Pollution in the skies, pollution in the land, pollution in the seas. And, you know, when this ayah would be read in the past, how do you understand that corruption has spread in the oceans? But now we see it, right? Now we see it with these massive oil spills and with the taking of the resources from in the ocean in an irresponsible way, and how that has really corrupted so much of the world's oceans. Right? So Allah tells us that this corruption that comes to the land is by our own doing. Right? So those that say that, well, climate change is not real, and that, you know, global warming is just a scientific, you know, spike that happens every so many hundred or thousand or millions of years, and it's just part of the natural pattern. Well, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He tells us different. That this is the spoiling and the eating away of resources and the degeneration of the earth is by what human beings do with their own hands. But then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us at the end of that ayah, ظهر الفساد في البر والبحر بما كسبت أيدي الناس ليذيقهم بعض الذي عملوا. So that they may taste some of what they have done. So in other words, human beings have corrupted the resources of this earth. And Allah says, the reason why that has happened is so that they can taste the effect of that. لَعَلَّهُمْ يَرْجِعُونَ. So that they may go back. This is the important part of the ayah, and this is the ayah that gives hope. This is the part of the ayah that gives hope. Right? It's not all bleak. But if human beings wake up to that fact and they realize what we have done, right? What we have done to our earth, then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He says that when that happens, then and we go back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then we have come full circle. And then we can correct that cycle, right? So the environmental crisis is not just a scientific problem or an environmental problem alone, but the result of a deep inner crisis of the soul. It's a moral issue. It's a moral issue, and this is very important to us as Muslims. This is how we see the world. Everything we see through the lens of our deen, right? And we understand that it's more than just what we see on the physical outside, but it's what's going on internally inside of us as human beings that allows us to corrupt the land as such. So there's a brother who's written a nice book, and he entitled it Green Deen, right? Green Deen, what Islam teaches about protecting the planet. And so he outlines certain principles that we need to understand as Muslims, that will really, so anybody, by the way, who wants to research this more and understand more and, you know, live their Islam to the fullest, and also according to the way in which society is going, right? The society is going green, and society as a whole is realizing their faults. لَعَلَّهُمْ يَرْجِعُونَ. So that, inshallah, people are going back to trying to restore the earth to its purity. So what does Islam teach about these things? So I want to mention some of these principles that are mentioned. And so number one, living a green deen means recognizing that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the creator and everything else is the creation. Right? That what we are witnessing and what human beings collectively are corrupting is Allah's creation. It's the creation of the creator of the heavens and the earth. right? So that gives the perspective of where everything lies. And for Allah, لَهُ مَا فِي السَّمَاوَاتِ وَمَا فِي الْأَرْضِ وَمَا بَيْنَهُمَا وَمَا تَحْتَ الثَّرَى. Right? For Allah belongs what's in the heavens, what's on the earth, what's between them, and what's underneath the earth even. Right? This is all Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's creation. Nothing falls outside of His realm. So first it's that realization. Secondly, living a green deen means seeing everything in the natural world as a sign of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Seeing everything in the world as a sign of Allah. So when we see something gone wrong, we know that the signs of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala are being corrupted. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, إِنَّ فِي خَلْقِ السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضِ وَاخْتِلَافِ اللَّيْلِ وَالنَّهَارِ لَآيَاتٍ لِأُولِي الْأَلْبَابِ. The ayahs in the Quran are many, right? Verily in the alteration, or verily in the creation of the heavens and the earth and the alteration of the day and night are signs for people of intellect. Right? So the people that realize these things are people who use the faculty that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given them, that distinguishes us from the rest of creation. Right? If human beings don't pay attention and we don't understand this, then the world is doomed, because we're the only ones who have that corroding or corruptive effect, and we also at the same time have the ability to make things right. Living a green deen means understanding that Allah created us directly from the earth, right? مِنْهَا خَلَقْنَاكُمْ وَفِيهَا نُعِيدُكُمْ وَمِنْهَا نُخْرِجُكُمْ تَارَةً أُخْرَى. Right? That Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, and this is what we also say when we put somebody in the ground, right? From it, مِنْهَا خَلَقْنَاكُمْ, from it we created you, from dirt, from this earth, we created you. وَمِنْهَا خَلَقْنَاكُمْ وَفِيهَا نُعِيدُكُمْ, and you're going to go back into it. Right? All of us are going to return into the soil. And from it we are going to be resurrected once again. So we are part of this earth. We're part and parcel of it, right? So we're part of this earth, and we also have this important responsibility of being the Khalifa of this earth, right? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when He created Adam, He told the angels, إِنِّي جَاعِلٌ فِي الْأَرْضِ khalifa, that I'm going to make upon this earth this creature that is going to be responsible, that's going to be a steward, that's going to be a caretaker, that's going to be my representative, that I'm going to teach him the right way of living, and then he has to take care of what I have made. Right? So that's a huge and heavy responsibility, and we understand it as Muslims. Right? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala not only made Adam Khalifa, He made all of us Khalifa. وَهُوَ الَّذِي جَعَلَ لَكُمْ خَلَائِفَ الْأَرْضِ, and He is the one that has made you Khalifas on this earth. So all of us have that share in that responsibility of taking care of the earth. And living a green deen also means that we have undertaken a trust, an amana upon us as human beings, right? With our Creator, with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Right? This is a trust, a sacred trust that Allah has put upon us as human beings, and all of the other aspects of creation refuse to take this trust. Inna aradna al-amanata ala as-samawati wal-ardi wal-jibal. Right? We have presented this amana, this trust, upon the heavens and the earth and the mountains. فَأَبَيْنَ أَن يَحْمِلْنَهَا وَأَشْفَقْنَ مِنْهَا وَحَمَلَهَا الْإِنسَانِ. Right? Everything else, they refused to take on this trust. They were afraid to take on this trust, and the human being, he held this trust. Right? So the earth is this great trust in our hands. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He expresses it so beautifully. But if we don't pay attention, we're not conscious of that, we fall description as it, we fall under the description as it comes in the end of the ayah, إِنَّهُ كَانَ ظَلُومًا جَهُولًا. But the human being is a wrongdoer, and he is ignorant. If he doesn't realize, if me and you don't realize that is our place in this earth, then we are ignorant and we are are going to transgress upon our responsibility. And the last thing, and there are many things that it means to we need to do to live a green deen, but the last thing to mention is living a green deen means being an agent of mercy. The Prophet ﷺ, he was described as وَمَا أَرْسَلْنَاكَ إِلَّا رَحْمَةً لِلْعَالَمِينَ. The Prophet was sent to this earth solely for the purpose of being a mercy. For what? لِلْعَالَمِينَ. For all levels of existence. For human beings, not only for them, for the animal kingdom, for the plants, for the earth, for everything around us, for the skies, right? And how does that happen? When we follow our deen and when we live our deen and we take all of these sacred responsibilities and we really understand the depth of that responsibility, then we also can be from amongst the merciful that will take care of this earth. Our Prophet ﷺ, he said, any Muslim who plants a tree or sows seeds and then a bird or a person or an animal eats from it, except that that person will get the reward as if he has given charity to these other creatures. أقول قولي هذا وأستغفر الله لي ولكم ادعوا الله وأنتم موقنون بالإجابة. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وبعد. Dear brothers and sisters, some action items. What are some things that we can do in our lives to actually impact the world in a positive way? We understand that nations and governments have their role, but we have our role as individual Muslims. Number one, we talk about three things, simple to remember, and inshallah we at least take one thing home today. Take one thing home today and take it to heart and implement it in your life, right? This is practical things that we can do in our life that shouldn't go in one ear and go out through the other, but we need to, inshallah, improve upon our situation, even inshallah, even if we're doing good with this aspect of living green. So number one is to curb consumption, right? To lessen our consuming power or abilities. So that means buying less, right? That means eating less. As individuals, eating less. If 40% of what we're eating is being wasted, then we don't need all of that 100%. We just need that 60%. Our Prophet ﷺ, he said that the son of Adam does not fill any vessel worse than his stomach. It is enough for the son of Adam to eat a few mouthfuls to keep him going, right? But if somebody must fill his stomach, then what? 1/3 with food, 1/3 with water, and 1/3 with air, right? The Prophet ﷺ, he said, if you must fill your stomach, don't fill it all the way fill it with evenly in this way, right? So consume less. Make your impact less on this earth. It's very interesting. The first description of Ibadur Rahman, of the servants of the Most Merciful, is what? وَعِبَادُ الرَّحْمَنُ الَّذِينَ يَمْشُونَ فِي الْأَرْضِ هَوْنًا. It's a beautiful ayah. And the servants of the Most Merciful are those that walk on this, that tread lightly on this earth. They leave a very little footprint on this earth. Right? They don't take more than what they need to take. It's a beautiful understanding when you understand it in the context of environment, right? The servants of the Most Merciful are those that tread on this earth lightly. They take a little and they don't leave any waste behind. And then the second action item is to, inshallah, conserve energy. Right? Conserve energy. And subhanAllah, all of these things are not only implementing, various aspects of your deen. You're going to save money, man. You're going to make your lifestyle trim and thin, right? You're going to cut off dollars off of your bills if you do these simple things, right? And subhanAllah, and the different agencies, the DWP and all the utilities, and they offer all of these incentives for us to be able to do these things. So these things are laid out for us, it's easy for us to do, and the benefit is there. And this is the Muslim thing to do at the end of the day. So conserve energy. And however you translate that into your life. If you live in a house, then make modifications to be able to do that. Go solar. If you watering your lawn 5 times a day, 5 times a week, water it once or twice a week, and make some modifications and cut out the grass. I'll share this. Sayyid Qutb, rahimahullah ta'ala, the great mufassir, when he came to America, the one thing that struck him, he said, man, these Americans, all they do is sit around all day long and water their lawns, right? Like, what's the infatuation? This is 60 years ago, right? Sayyid Qutb 60 years ago, 70 years ago. What's the infatuation with these green lawns, right, that we have? And how much water does that take and waste? And the last point is to commute smarter, right? And also to make our footprint less on the roads. And we know that is the #1 impact upon the greenhouse gases and global warming is the carbon monoxide that goes out into the environment, and we have the ability to do that. And there are also those ways, that we know very well that which we can do that. I'll leave you all with this last hadith of our Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, because being an eco-conscious Muslim and living a sustainable life, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he said, it's something we do until the last breath. Our Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he said in the hadith that's related by Imam Ahmad, إذا قامت الساعة وفي يد أحدكم فسيلة فليغرسها. Subhanallah, it's beautiful. Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he says, if the hour has come, in other words, this is the last moment you're going to live on this earth, and there happens to be in your hands a small plant. In other words, you're about to plant a small plant or tree in your garden, and you're about to plant a small tree, plant it. Until the last moment, the Prophet ﷺ is take care of this earth. Plant trees, make the environment a better place. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to help us to live by these words. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make us from those who have a light footprint on this earth. And we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make us from those whose scales are heavy when we meet Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allahumma inni داع فقولوا آمين. اللهم اغفر للمسلمين والمسلمات والمؤمنين والمؤمنات الأحياء منهم والأموات إنك سميع قريب ومجيب الدعوات. اللهم أعز الإسلام والمسلمين. اللهم أرنا الحق حقا وارزقنا اتباعه وأرنا الباطل باطلا وارزقنا اجتنابه. اللهم ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار. إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما. اللهم صل وسلم وزد وبارك على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين وأقم الصلاة.